Welcome, everybody, to Viva Alive. And I'm here with my dear colleague and friend, Daniela Lemos. And our topic today is, drumroll please, looking for answers. And all of us are looking, generally speaking, for answers, which is the funniest thing because if we're looking for answers, all we get is either confusion because we don't find the answer, or we get a conclusion which takes us to the end of the conclusion. So what is your ideas on this, Daniela, about looking for answers? What is it
Wow.
that you know about this?
Like I said before, this is like a movie, sounds a movie topic, but we can want to understand why things happen and discover the right decision sometimes and anticipate the future. We believe that when we finally find the answer, we'll feel something that it's more clear for us. But this clearly, truly come with the answer? I think it's a question. Perhaps
Okay.
our greatest challenge is not knowing. Perhaps it's believing that we can only move forward once ever answer is clear. And while we wait for the certainty,
Hmm.
we stop, sometimes stop living, choosing, notice possibilities that are already available. Yeah.
And that's kind of cool because I think that sums up how people operate, is that when you can't move forward unless you have an answer. Like you go certain, like, you have a thing that's going on in your head and you go, I need to find the answer to this before I can possibly actually have clarity to move on. And and I'm just going to push the barriers a little bit more and go like, what if we don't need answers?
Ah,
Like, what if answers aren't really necessary? And because you could look for some clarity. And you could also look for how you could move beyond the answer. But I think the answer is like a sticking point. And it is actually the way the whole world functions is you go find out the answer for this and you use, like Stanford and all of the big universities. They use
mhm.
deductive reasoning and get to the answer as though that was really true.
Yeah.
And they spend an inordinate amount of time, which means in English, for the translators, it means a ton of time, a lot of time, trying to get to the answer. And that actually closes down everything that's possible with whatever it is that they were looking at.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I think some answers are important sometimes, but they organize our thinking, support decision making. But the
Hmm.
problem begins when we turn an answer into absolutely truth. And I think at moment we stop observing sometimes, and we stop learning, and we stop asking questions. I love questions.
Well, I love questions too. And I think that if we were to move, so the invitation today is what if we could move beyond the answer?
Yeah.
And it could be that we could ask a question and get some clarity on something. Clarity, like, I'll do something really simple. Like, what would my body like for dinner tonight? Everybody could use that question, right? And then, because your body has its own point of view about what it would like to eat. And then use the question as a way of getting clarity or information, but not a conclusion, and not an answer. It's just like, oh, okay. I think my body would like, because I was asking this as I was just getting ready for the podcast, and I was like going, what would my body like for dinner tonight? So that's a question. And then it's like, I think I'll go drive to the like butcher shop that's close to me that I enjoy. I wonder what I'll find there. So, did you notice? Question, 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 without a completion to any of it. And then it continues to be an expansive process. And you could have scenarios in your life about, that are more yes or no, but not so much. Like we don't even have to have yes or no. Like, will this work is a yes or no. And then if you get a no, then you go, okay, so what else is it that I is possible here? If you get a yes, it could be what else is possible here.
Wow. Yeah, that's new for a lot of people. It's a tool. We know that's a tool for life. And I think there is a difference between asking questions to confirm what we already believe and asking questions to discover something we have not yet perceived. And
Exactly. Because if we're working in a finite, lineal, fixed world, you just get what you see and you see what you get. But that's actually really not what's going on in the world. It is certainly not solid. It is certainly not stagnant and lineal, even though we've been told this is the way it is. But when we start to ask questions and move beyond looking for the answer for something, we actually start to create something entirely new. And that's
wow,
super exciting.
it is. It is. We ask a question only to validate our conclusions, we rarely discover anything new. But when you ask questions with genuine curiosity, our perception expands.
Well, yeah, and it does. And particularly, it's one of the brilliant things that people have that is far greater, and I know I don't like to reference this, but far greater than AI is, because
Wow.
AI can only use what it's been fed or been computated around as a possibility. But
Mhm.
people, when they ask questions, they actually create something that is beyond anything that ever has been created before. And machines can't do that,
Wow.
which is a brilliance of who we are.
Mhm.
If we continue to if we continue to ask questions rather than look for the answer. And I just was like reflecting on something I was asking in an AI program yesterday. I use it to my advantage. Like, here, how can I get this information quickly? But I don't use it to see if I'm right or wrong about something. I just go, oh, can you get me the details on this? And then it will give me the answer. And then it can't go anywhere. It's ended its usefulness. So if you look at that process, interesting. If you use that process where we are given an answer and then there's nothing more, how often do you create nothing more in your life because you use finding the answer as the thing? Can you get a sense of that?
Wow. Yeah, this is big.
Oops. So it's like, how can we use, first of all, like it's sort of an autopilot thing that we have to find answers. Like when you were in school, you had to get the answer, right? And I can remember when I was a kid, we had to put up our hands. I don't know if that still happens anymore. We had to put up our hands in order to, when the teacher asked a question, to be able to be chosen to give the answer, to show how smart we were. And it was only just because we had read or we had learned something or that was relevant to it. But then how many more elements like has that stuck in our world that we are smart if we have the answer?
Yeah. Wow.
And
Yeah.
if we don't have the answer, then that would mean something that's quite the opposite.
Wow. Wow. Like right and wrong. Yes. Yeah.
And and if we were to move beyond looking for the answer and have it be a continual exploration, because every
Wow.
time you ask a question, it opens up a space for some new awareness, some new information.
Yes. Something that's important about the mind, because our mind finds what we expect to find. Let me
Mhm.
explain. It's
Please.
influenced by the stories we tell ourselves. When believe that that a certain situation always ends the same way, our
Hmm.
mind selects evidence that confirms the expectation.
Hmm.
And it's not because the world has changed, but it's because our filter has reminded the same,
Hmm.
something like that. And that's why change the question also changes what we are able to perceive.
And what we see in the world.
Yeah, yeah,
And so that means that we can actually create and change anything we would like to. And it's not to say that we're playing tricks and pretending that something, well, maybe some things stop to exist when we start to change our point of view about something. By example, what if we play with this question? So you have a scenario, let's say with your son, because I've met your son and I happen to really like him. And he's having problems at school. Let's say he doesn't, but let's just say. And and you go, wonder what it would take to allow him to be able to study, so it's easy for him. I wonder what that is. You don't have to know what it is. You can just ask it. And somehow it starts to change all of the components that go along with that. Go, you're asking the question, but I don't know. My awareness is it not only changes for you by you asking the
mhm.
question, but it also changes his world because you're not disconnected. And all of a sudden he says, Mom, I decided I'm going to study right after school. So then I can have more time to myself and I can go and do whatever I want to out of the blue.
Yeah,
And that's kind of how asking questions works.
exactly. Yeah,
Rather
that,
than coming to the answer of, I have to get him in the house right after school and make him study hard because he's having a hard time and I have to get him a tutor because blah, blah, blah.
wow,
And
this is a
and look at
good,
how heavy and ew that is.
yeah. Through my journey, I can see how many times I searched for the right answer for the different
Oh, wow.
situations, like I am right now. And the answer for for example, for the next project or work or next decision or for my son, for a long time, I believe I need to clarity for before taking action. Or a
Hmm.
good example, for example, uh, today I see that it's not solid like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
clarity appeared as I keep moving, I keep it open the space, asking questions. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to emerge something new.
Well, and the thing is that if you continue to rather than close things down by coming up with an answer, you can totally create something different with the question. And the curiosity of how it shows up is what's fascinating.
Wow. Yeah.
Like you ask a question and you may not really get the clarity at that moment. Like, what would it take to create a certain scenario as a question? And you may not get information right away because you're not looking for the answer. You're looking for awareness,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a capacity. It's not an answer.
Yeah.
And that
When
can
I,
drop in the middle of the night, if you will.
yeah. Oh, it happens because I when start trying to control ever answer, I stayed curious enough to keep asking questions.
Hmm.
And if I have waited until I was completely certain about the situation about my son, because everybody's different, I probably would never had started the new situation and the new opportunity for him that I'm living now. His story could change. So yeah, that the consciousness in this time in this situation is very important for us.
Well, and the thing is that a lot of people think that consciousness is something ooga booga, something spiritual. And it's not spiritual. It's like awareness. And it could be awareness beyond cognitive thought. It's like a whisper, you know?
Yeah.
And it also connects to everything. So, I don't know, having a level of awareness to be able to like at least move forward. I
Mhm.
sometimes move forward without a lot of awareness because I sense something, not because I have the answer. Like I'm aware of something, not a cognitive thought something, but an awareness of something. And I make choices based on that without having I'll call it like the vision at the end of the tunnel. Just I know something. And you can get to that through asking questions. So we always love asking questions.
Yeah.
And
Answer is a conclusion, right?
it is a conclusion. And I have a great example of that. I was looking at it's a weird example, but I was looking at for me, I have to have so many things on the go all the time. Like a bazillion things because I'm super fast and I require a lot on my plate to do stuff and to make it life interesting enough for me and curious. And it was funny because I was asking about creating a new business, like an additional business, not getting rid of this one, an additional business. I was going, what would be fun for me? Now, you would go, oh, that's a question. No, in a nuance is actually looking for the answer. I know. Did I just hit you in the face with a frying pan? Like, oops. But it is. Because it is, if you're going, hey, I'm looking for the thing that'll be fun for me. What is that? That's looking for the answer. rather than looking at, let me just, I have a sense of something. Let me go and choose that. And 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 then you choose it and you go, what would it take to create that?
Wow. So questions open another possibilities. And when we remain present, curious, and available, we begin to notice nuance that once we went unseen, right?
Exactly. Exactly. That's kind of how it works. And it's sort of fun once you get out of the world of needing to find the answer. It's really fun because then you start going, wow, I never knew that people will show up in your life who will contribute to the thing that you were asking about. Like, what would it take for me to create this new business? And all of a sudden, this person shows up, somebody sends me money from somewhere, as if it just shows up. Now, if I had said, okay, the business I need to do next is this, it's not really fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Wow.
have a lot of energy underneath it because it's already created as a conclusion.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, what questions can we bring to people today to give them something that's to play with that's beyond the answer?
Yeah, perhaps today we am looking for the answer that you believe will change our entire life. And but perhaps yeah, you could do some answer or question, sorry. And what answer are you still searching for that may be preventing you from seeing new possibilities?
Wow, that's a really great question. Yeah, because if you look at that and go, there's actually no answers. If you were to like eliminate the idea of answers out of the world. So now, what question can I bring forward? Hmm, I'm stumped. I'm seldom stumped for a question. Um, what? So you can ask a question or you can be a question,
Wow, that's interesting.
which is like probably for another episode. But what question can you be today that will create and generate everything that you're asking for in life and living? Oops. And if you ask that question, you actually start to create from that. It's a bigger step than just asking a question, but me, I like to stir the pot a bit. And so have fun with asking questions. And it's not wrong if you default to, because we're so used to getting the answer and then going, okay, got the answer, now what? There's no wrongness to it. But it's an invitation for you to create living differently and having fun with the creation process. And it will create a greater life when you start to ask questions.
Without conclusion.
We love questions. Thank you for joining us today on Viva Alive. We'll see you next week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye.
Bye.